How's everybody doing? Let's make sure that we are
all set with our audio. How is everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. We got to put our banner up too.
Yeah. Today's been a crazy day. We went right to the edge. But thanks for waiting. We're a couple of minutes late, but everything's good. I hope everyone had a great week. So
we have family in.
Yeah.
And so my one of my sons is here with our grandsons, and Emma's being a hostess while we're doing this. So she might pop in. She told me she may, like, not for the whole show, but she might pop in. Hopefully she does. And then, we can say hi to her. Hope everybody's doing good. And so we were having like a whole new week this week. It's kind of crazy.
I just say.
Oh, so we just have to.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to go is that
I gotta go on Facebook.
Yeah. So one thing is that Lisa started her sessions with her website, right? Visions Beyond the Desert.
You want to show it?
And yep. And so we'll show you the website. And anyway, so she's had her first
few.
Well, she had actually quite a few before that too. But going live, she had a few of her first ones here. And so I just wanted to kind of ask her about it and see what she thought, how it went and stuff like that. So how'd it go?
Good. Yeah. So this is our website, visionsbeyondthedesert.com. And you can go on there to book. I did have one person who was from another country who was having a hard time paying with a credit card. So I've emailed the merchant services about that. We're getting
just the Amex though.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that. So, but anyway, we'll get that straightened. But if you do have a problem like she did, just drop me an email and we can always do it via PayPal or something. We were thinking maybe we'll just add a couple other ways to pay on this
the
too.
Cash App.
Yeah, something like PayPal. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But just send me a message and we will schedule it anyway. But
so you could see there's a lot of things that you're getting, and I think it's growing. Some of the things you're getting, right?
Yeah. So one of the interesting things that I noticed that's like a newer thing is physical sensations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Remember I was telling you about pressure and tingling in different places and things.
And that all means something.
Yeah.
Where? I mean, the location, right?
Yeah. So that's newer. So that was really interesting that we were kind of experiencing that this week. And then what was another? There was something else that was a couple of them. I have had some interactions with people who have passed.
That's what, yeah, that was what you have the sensations, but that was the new one I was thinking of is that because you're to know that those energies are around you when you're on the other side of getting it, when you're getting the reading.
Yeah.
It is comforting to hear, when you know that they're there.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I was saying, I don't know, is this going to be like a new thing that we're doing? I'm not really sure. So we have a house full of people. So if you hear noises in the background or something,
forgive us.
That's what's going on with us. But yeah, so that's the new website. And we have, did you show the different?
Yeah.
I don't know if it went. Oh,
okay.
He's better at navigating than I am. Oh, there it is.
There it is. So,
we have 30-minute, 1 hour. These are the sessions where you can ask questions and do stuff. And then we have.
And these are she did these instead of doing like promotion codes, and we just what we wanted to do is give you the best pricing we can. So we did some research out there, and really it's great pricing. And if anyone needs a gift, I remember my first reading, I didn't buy it. I got a gift from somebody, and so.
And then the 30-minute meditation consultations, which I'm surprised that's going really, really well. I mean, I'm not surprised because there's a lot of people who, feel like they have blocks and stuff when it comes to meditation. But that's what I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
And you know what? I'm happy it is going there, and I hope it continues because this meditation is the key to
I think so.
I think it's the key to manifesting. It's the key to most everything you're gonna really do. And if you're gonna build your own,
Yeah.
your own, whatever you want to call it, intuitive
Abilities,
abilities,
whatever. Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
So anyway,
So that was,
congratulations.
thanks, honey. Yeah, it's been a really interesting week, and it's fun. Like I'm really, oh, go back to, yeah, that one. I'm really enjoying it.
Which
It's,
is that's huge. The
yeah.
fact that you're enjoying it, that's what you want to do.
And you know what I realize is like everybody is amazing. Like, as people anyway, you're amazing, right? But some of the stuff that um these people have, I don't know, experienced in their lives or dealt with or whatever, it's incredible to have, that um look into just kind of what we're capable of, what we've
Yeah.
experienced as souls and stuff. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, and some of the feedback that we've been getting has been really good, complimentary. Like, I mean,
Validating.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's cool. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to see what comes next. And
And then what else do you have there? And then really quick,
remember, don't switch. You got to like go in and out for both of them. Because remember when we tried to switch screens, it wasn't working
yeah,
on
we had
our.
to share, right?
Yeah, we had to share, but I mean between the two.
Yeah, I got them all in different ones. Is that not good?
But yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like you have to unshare and then
Yeah.
go back and share.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I thought I got to share
Okay.
screen again.
We're trying to figure it out, you guys. We're just not good at this. We're trying.
And then we have the
Oh yeah, so that one is my book, Visions of Shadows and Stars. So that's available on Amazon, and you can read it on Kindle.
Yep. And again, I would say the prettiest cover ever.
Thank you.
Very nice. And then I have a book out.
Oh,
And where is this thing to stop sharing?
I think you already stopped, didn't you?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And then I have a book out, The Frequency Formula. It's the Grabavoy codes, and we've been getting actually a lot of really good feedback with really helping some people out.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this keeps going away, but it's
it's available on Kindle as well.
Yeah, Kindle, and I said it before, but I'm really going to get it on that Amazon Audible, because I don't.
I could do that too. You know what? It just sounded like it was a process, and at the time I was so overwhelmed. I was like, okay, down the road. But we probably need to do that. But yeah, we've gotten, and in fact, with some of the meditation consultations, we've been helping people with the Grabavoy as well.
Yeah,
included in some of the meditations.
Yeah, and so I know it's a great way to incorporate it in. So I'm happy I stopped a project I was doing to do the Grabavoy codes, and so I'm glad that she's going to be able to actually kind of embed it in what she's doing with the meditations and stuff, because it's a great way to kind of visualize and manifest. So anyway, the books, that it is out there, and and there's like, I think, close to 600 codes in there on almost everything. So it's a really good way to to really get out there and manifest what you're looking for.
Specifically.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? So we have there's Debs. Hey Deb, how are you?
Hey Debs.
You wanna do the top one?
Where?
Okay, let me just
I got
it. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Anyway, so some of the stuff that we've been seeing on X has been a little crazy.
Yeah, so between the Doge and between some of the sightings, between all this, it seems like things are happening in a much faster fashion, or it's always been there, but they just weren't saying anything, and now they are.
What do you think?
I think both can be true. I think it is happening in a faster fashion, and I think more people are seeing it, and I think disclosure or exposure has to happen because it's there now. So I think it's a little more in our face.
Yeah.
And with this USAID thing with Doge, I mean, when some of the things.
I have some of the stuff on that, but I think the first thing that we have for X is more about I think the first stuff I had was the UFO.
Okay.
So we can look at it and see. Yes, I agree with you, Debs. The files are going to be interesting, and we'll see. Like, is it going to be redacted to death? Is it going to be, like transparent? It's going to be a big tell, don't you think? If depending on how they're presented.
It looks like the JFK. It looks like within 15 days from the orders signing, and then RFK and MLK with 45 days. Yeah. So that's going to be good. And I wonder what they're doing with the other one with the island out there, because I know they're going to do his file as well.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I hope so.
They should, and I hope the anyone involved gets what they should be getting.
Yeah. So let's take a look at X, and we will see some of the stuff that that we had here. So this one was interesting. So I wonder if they can hear. I can't even hear it. Can you?
No.
All right. Wow. Anyway, look at this. What is this that's going on? February 15th.
Look at that.
Multiple red, blue, and green UAP lights recorded over San Francisco Bay area last night. So that was on Valentine's Day.
Oh, they did that for Valentine's? That's sweet.
Yeah.
They're romantics up there.
Say? Is that crazy?
Look at that. Wow.
I know. I mean, how many things can it be? What would it be? Look at those blue ones going up to.
And look at what the heck? Oh.
So that's interesting. And then they're starting to blink white. And now where did the blue ones go? Like, what is that? What would you do if you saw that, like, going over you?
That's wild.
And now that blue one's leaving that, like, interesting. There's a green one.
Look at this. The green one's chasing the blue ones away.
It's very interesting.
Look at that.
So Rita says that a lot of times with the red ones, they have a different energy that does feel like it's more nefarious in nature, and that some of the other colors maybe don't feel, that way. But I mean, are we looking at, like, what's that CGI stuff? But they're talking about it in terms of not Project Bluebeam. Is it the Project Bluebeam? When they can do the holograph in the air, and it's like some of the games and stuff, and some of like Dubai, and I think some Asian countries, they make it like dragons and whales, and like, is that what we're looking at?
That technology. But see, that technology, you would think it's something where, I mean, it would be more than just this, like that. You know what I mean?
Right. But if you're trying to make it look like it's a start of something, I don't know, right? Because you just throw a lot of stuff. Is it that, or is it, really something else?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Okay, so look at this. This thing is in Phoenix on February 10th. So they're wondering if it's like a satellite of some sort, some kind of UFO in the sky. Not really sure what that is.
That little thing going around?
Do you see this big gray, like, sphere thing?
I thought that. I thought that was the.
See?
Yeah. Holy cow! Look at that thing.
Right. So what is that? That was Phoenix, February 10th.
Wow.
And then we have this. So this is Florida. UFO seen hovering slowly over the city. Who are they and what do they want? They said. Look at that.
See, it doesn't look like a drone.
I mean, from that far away for it to be that big, I think it's large. Very large.
That's way out there.
Think about what planes look like in the sky,
Yeah. Yeah, that is. Look at that.
Right?
it is kind of unnerving. I don't know how people don't feel anything about that.
Well, I don't know. I think you have to use your discernment and kind of see. Okay, so that's the end of the UFO stuff that we have, and then we
Wow,
have some other things. So, um,
that's pretty wild.
yeah. So back here, Deb was saying she thinks Martin Luther King would maybe be the first.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Hopefully they get JFKs out there
yeah.
first. But I wonder if Debs, if you see anything out there in the UK, are you getting like some sightings of that stuff, or is I
I'm
mean I'm sure,
sure
right? But I'm
they
wondering.
have to. Oh, Jen's in. Hey Jen, how are you? Good to
Hey
see you
Jen.
here. Yeah, I think I mean, they've always had like weird stuff, right? Over UK, you hear people talking about the UK in general. I mean, Scotland, Ireland, London,
Yeah.
and other parts of England. But that's where all of those like those crop things. Why can't I think
Oh,
of anything?
the
I can't think of what
I keep
anything's
thinking
called
crop
tonight.
dusting.
I know.
That's what I keep thinking.
That's what came to my mind too. I was like,
the
what is it called? It's crop
pet
circles. Crop
crop
circles.
circles.
That's it. But
So there's I like I said, I think more and more are going to be coming up. I mean, it's just everything is the veil is kind of thinning.
yeah.
Everything is kind of moving in that direction. But it is kind of unnerving when you see it and you don't know what, like that the hub when you hover he's hovering slow or whoever.
Yeah.
If why are you doing it slow?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that I think that maybe either way, whether it's something that the governments are doing or whether it's actually something that's like a phenomenon that's happening, either way, it's getting people ready for the idea
Yeah.
that, this is a real thing. It's not, there was a lot of people for a lot of years. Think about when we were growing up and stuff that thought it was ridiculous,
Yeah.
nonsensical.
But
So
you know what? Even to go back a handful of years.
yeah.
Do you imagine talking about? I mean, having a serious conversation. I mean, I know people were, but when most of the people, if you start talking about aliens and UFOs, they'd be like, "Come on,
Yeah,
let's
which
stop
is
with the
weird
nonsense."
because you think about the people's reaction to like, I don't know, not like Star Wars kind of stuff or Star Trek, because there are those people too that kind of go, I definitely believe in that, and I think that that's out there somewhere. But there were a lot of people when you thought about like Close Encounters
Yeah,
when we were kids, right?
close encounters of the third kind.
Yeah, that were, thinking that at least that was a plausible thing. And I
Mhm.
know I felt like that when I saw that movie Contact.
And I know I really would have liked to hang out with ET for a while.
Oh,
No,
oh,
when you were a
yeah.
kid and you go like that, oh, yeah, like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I felt bad for him and I wanted him to go back home, but I wasn't trying to have him in my house either.
Yeah, but it would have been fun. I just didn't have a basket on my bike. We weren't allowed.
Oh,
So
yeah, that probably wouldn't have gone over big in Brooklyn.
no, no, forget it. We had the bike taken.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that it's probably benefits both sides, whether people are trying to have the powers that be are trying to have some kind of scare tactic. There was that guy that was I can't think of his name. I don't know why. Every time we get on here, for some reason, I have a loss for words. I need to like
Who is it? The guy from
clear my
Contact?
throat chakra. No, it's the oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me crazy. The Project Paperclip, the guy that came over, the scientist came over, and he actually helped to form NASA. And when he was on his deathbed, he was saying that their last like thing that they can do is to pull like an ET invasion kind of card or
Oh,
whatever. Um, so I think that
Van Braun? The
no,
Dwight? Oh no.
no. Anyway, I don't want to get caught up in it because
Yeah,
then we'll get stuck in it. But anyway, I'm just saying that that I think it would benefit them if they're trying to do a scare tactic thing, and it's definitely going to benefit um, real contactees and contact because we know people who have had contacted before that maybe their stories wouldn't have been as accepted. And look how much has changed just even
yeah,
since the pandemic.
yeah. A, a listen, that's why I think that we're going in that direction where everything is just going to, everything is the
Yeah.
exposure. But the only thing is, like, if they use it as that, it is going to be, that's where I think it's going to get a little crazy, because for some reason, what we do know, and I think what COVID did prove, is that if enough of the mainstream media say the same thing,
Yeah.
they can literally drive our population to stupidity
Oh,
and walk around with ridiculous, uh, masks on the face, or wear a noodle hat so you're 6 feet distance. I
oh,
mean,
remember those videos?
that it was. I mean, I can't imagine someone telling me to put a noodle on my head to sit. I just can't imagine being
Well,
something.
and when we look back at it now, it's so ridiculous. But we didn't all know what we were looking at. But not that we were doing that, but we were following the stupid lines at the grocery store for the most part.
Yeah.
And we were like waiting outside with the carts like 6 feet apart to go in. Remember
Also,
that
yeah,
at the very
also,
beginning?
you have to wear your mask when you walk into a restaurant,
But when you
but
sit
when you
down,
sit
you can
down, you
take it
can
off.
take it off,
Yeah.
because it's only up here, and it was just crazy. It was just, it was
Hey,
nuts.
Ken, how are you?
Hey, Ken. So, but anyway, my point being is that just with something like that, as ridiculous as that was, how many people fell in line like Step and Fetcher, and then all of a sudden, now you're talking about UFOs or an attack like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine the frenzy that'll get whipped up, instead of people kind of just taking a breath and going, okay, let's see what's happening.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I think that it did a lot of things but I think it was beneficial too, because there were a lot of people at that time that decided to start looking into things. I know I did. When you had that time and
Yeah.
you had that place where you could do that, you kind of um, could really deep dive and go down some of these rabbit holes, which I think woke up the population largely into things when we stopped being so busy at work and on our phones and all of that, and everybody got to slow down and think for a minute.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like all of these things, you started feeling like at least I did, feeling like I had some more discernment. And it was like questioning things and the narratives and, all of that stuff as they were coming out. And I kept realizing like they kept trying to squash people's points of view, and all these doctors and stuff that had an opposing view weren't really given a voice. And that's what made me kind of go down those rabbit holes, because I'm like, why can't these people talk? Why is everybody getting shut down? It's never been like that. There's like been debates and people, but this, for some reason, it's like they were too harsh. And that's what made me start looking.
Yeah, and that, and then also when they say, we'll buy you hamburgers if you go get if you
Yeah.
go get the thing, and so it was crazy. But she'll tell you, I was out almost every day,
Oh, that's
right?
not, everybody's not going to think that's a great thing, babe.
No, well, it was because it was I looked at, and I wasn't even in I wasn't in great shape back then, either. Like I was, I had probably a couple of comorbidities or two,
Yeah.
right? And I was out all the time, because I figured, because I just move through stuff. I don't buy into that, a lot of that stuff. But I just walked right in. I was in grocery store. I was like, right. There was never shortages.
Well, that's what Marina Jacoby had said too. She was kind of like, it's like a reality within the reality. And sometimes, depending on where you're at in your belief system, you don't necessarily have to be experiencing things on the same level, because we were here in Vegas where there were a lot of pictures and words and stuff on social media showing like the blank, shelves, and everything was empty. But every time we went, we had no trouble finding anything.
Ever.
We got everything we needed when we needed it. And she said she had experienced things like that too, or there were people in lines for gas, and she went in and drove right in, and she pulled right up to a pump, and so she was saying, it's basically on your frequency too, and your belief system is like, what reality are you living in? Are you living in one that was based in a fear frequency where you were thinking about lack and not having enough and stuff? And if that's the case, then that's exactly what you're going to do, because you created to see it. But if you're going to be in a place where, you just aren't going to worry, and you're going to know you're always going to have what you need, that's going to be your reality. And I think that's what we were doing, without even realizing it. So.
Yeah, the only thing that concerned me was that, because I was like, I'd be driving behind somebody in a pickup truck, and they would have the whole flatbed full of maybe 30, 40 cases of water.
Yeah.
So when people do that, and that's what the panic starts, between that and toilet paper, it was ridiculous. And I was just like, why, if I couldn't go get water, you're going to force me to take it out of your flatbed.
Oh.
And that's all. That was like, it's like, why do that to people?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, that was interesting. But so then on some of the other stuff, I think I have. Oh, I know. I wanted to show. Um, Going back to X. Um, see, that was that one. Oh, here we go. So, of course, Robert Kennedy Jr. was appointed, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did get into
Yeah,
his position.
everybody's
And he said, guess where I have a meeting on Monday morning?
Monsanto.
Monsanto. Thank
Woo.
you. Oh my gosh. Are you so excited that he's going to actually be able
Yep.
to clean up our food? Like, I'm ready.
That Monsanto is responsible for a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
A lot. They have a lot. They're a huge, huge company. My God, and the stuff that's getting sprayed with what they do
Yeah.
is
I'm
crazy.
so excited about it. That is probably the aspect, that and the skies
Yeah.
are the thing that I am just like waiting with bated breath.
Yeah. No, me too. And now every time when I see them when you see them flying or when you
Yeah.
it's just and everything that's coming back now with and again things start to catch fire because now you're starting to see how many how many things on social media of people comparing ingredients. Doctors are speaking out
Yeah.
now, going on more of the famous shows. And now, the White House press corps, they set up a spot where the content creators could get a seat in there now because that's what people are getting. Most of the people are getting their news because you just can't trust the
Right.
MLM no more. So, with all these things that are going on, it'll be great to see because maybe we'll actually hear what they're really doing and get some people woken up.
I am so excited about it. I would love to just have, I remember when I was a kid and we would eat like fruit
Hmm.
and stuff. It was so good.
Really
And
good.
I couldn't wait to go and like have watermelon and apples and peaches and pears and all of those things. And then I remember being when I was raising my boys. So it was actually probably they were a little bit old, maybe elementary, junior high age. It's like the 90s, some maybe the 90s, late 2000s. And I felt like fruit just had no flavor. Most of the time it was like very bland. Do you remember when it kind of moved into that?
I remember. Well, in the '90s, it wasn't so bad back in Brooklyn. I don't
Uh-huh.
know because maybe they were just individual like fruit stands, and I don't know where they got
Yeah.
the fruit from, but it still tasted pretty good. But when I moved out here in '99,
Yeah.
the first one of the things I noticed is when I ate the fruit, it never seemed like it was ripe. Like it
Yeah.
just seemed like it didn't have the taste like it should.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it just like changed. And I remember being at my dad's house. So I think he moved before I had Vincent. So this was probably like 88, 89, something like that. And I was sitting at his house and I saw a commercial and they were trying to it's more like an infomercial and they
Mhm.
were trying to talk about um like corn syrup.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the difference and how much better it was for you than sugar. And I remember and they were saying like how they could
See the top right.
oh yeah, the stance on high. Yes, fructose corn syrup. Corn syrup. We're talking about up here in this corner. And I remember watching that and going, "Well, that sounds pretty good. That sounds better. Like why wouldn't we do that?" And it was, obviously BS. Here we are all these years later and stuff. But they were like trying to show how they could feed more people and they could do
Yeah.
all these things and it was better for your kids anyway
GMO.
and all of this stuff. And I remember watching that going like, well, that sounds like a better thing. Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when they went away from like when they made like the fats.
Yeah.
That was the enemy. That's what was giving you a heart attack. That was bad. And when with the sugar stuff,
Yeah.
like this, and the dyes and all that stuff, and we could feed more people. It just was a distraction of we're getting away from the fats, which give you a heart attack, and we could feed all these people.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about health benefits, but meanwhile, you need some of the fatty foods.
Yeah. It's important. You
So
gotta, I mean, the right ones, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
So anyway, that was crazy. And then I saw this and I thought this was crazy. The Haka dance is back, sporting t-shirt reading Man Up and Real Men. The dancers conduct striking performances in front of an ongoing pride parade in New Zealand.
nice.
Haka native to New Zealand and Maori people, I don't know, made itself globally known during the first digital sorry guys.
That's
There
yeah.
it is.
Look at that. That's those dances. They're wild when they do
So
that.
they're doing their.
That's how they keep their tongue up.
Is that incredible?
Wow. Yeah, people are just standing up because you can't get stuff just slammed down your throat continuously. You just
Well, the
can't.
thing is that,
Too much.
there was a time when you could have room for like just, more than one perspective or point of view, but it kept getting like narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed. And you can't do that. It's like that, you could make the same example when you're talking about the pendulum, right? They talk about the pendulum swings one way too far. It's always got to come back before it can kind of hit somewhere in the middle. So I think that's what we're seeing so much now is just the beginning of the pushback.
Yeah, yeah, and again, because it went very far from where it originally started
Yeah.
to going into I mean just a bunch of different things to where it's again it went too far impeding into Title IX and women's sports and stuff getting taken from women who worked very hard to get where they were at. And if it was my daughter who worked hard and went and God forbid, especially in a combat sport, and then got drilled by someone who wasn't who was a
biological man,
yeah, and got really badly hurt, like got her face shattered and all this stuff that's happened. I mean, this is like it's just gone too far, and that you just got to sit and eat it, and like it's normal. It's not.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I love that. That when they do that, you feel it, right? And I was thinking about when Tony Robbins and stuff talks about power stances.
And he always he goes change your state. He goes like this. He always hits himself. That's what it made me think. Yeah. That's why you could see them. You could see they change when as they're doing it. They feel like they feel strong, and it makes you feel like that.
Yeah, it was interesting. But whenever I've seen that, because I've seen that, since you're a little kid, but don't you kind of lean in and go like, what are they doing? Wow, that's amazing. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought this was funny.
From now on, money laundering will be called foreign aid.
Right?
Foreign aid.
So the Doge stuff.
Yeah. So what the crazy thing is, this has been going on. So I mean, Donald Rumsfeld back in 2001, he said that they were missing $2.3 trillion. It was just unaccounted for.
Oh, that's all.
2.3 trillion. This is in 2001. We started hearing $1 trillion numbers maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, with $1 trillion packages and that type of stuff. Even in 2008, we didn't. It was in the billions, high hundreds of billions. But about 4 years ago is when now talking trillions. And this was in 2001. 2.3 trillion was unaccounted for, and oh well. The F-35 program cost over 1.7 trillion, yet it still has significant operational issues.
Well, and if you're in this community and you're thinking about it, and you hear the stories from like Tony Rodriguez and stuff, it's not a big surprise where it's gone. I mean, they've got to pull from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So that they can do all of these things. I mean, if there are all of these programs out there, and they're letting us think in NASA that we're hoping to get back to the moon.
Yeah.
Someday, hopefully we get back up there, but meanwhile, we know that we've gone a lot further, and there's a lot of stuff that that they're doing. You think about if any one of those things, pick one thing. If portal technology is true and implemented by governments now, obviously
or looking glass technology.
Yeah.
Any of that
I
stuff.
just pick something, Montauk project. I mean, just
Yeah. It
anything.
has to be. It has to
Project
be funded.
Pegasus. Right.
Yeah. And it has to be funded by lost money because there's no way to put that as a line item on it because that they shouldn't be doing the things that they're doing. So but you know, no matter what it is, what even with COVID, the COVID relief, $60 billion of fraud,
Yeah.
right? $66 billion of fraud. So no, it seems like the American citizens never mind helping, and money going to help people who really need it. It's just how it's always been. But when you see this type of stuff, and you also have to realize it's such a money grab too. It's a money laundering up the ass, and it's.
I got to tell you something funny. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute because I got to tell you this. I want to see your full face when I tell you this. So, remember when we first started this podcast tonight?
Yeah.
And what was some of the first things that you said on the podcast?
I don't know.
That you were apologizing? Why would you apologize?
Oh, because we were late.
I put on there to start at 6:30. Actually, early.
Get out of here. We were going crazy.
We were running around.
Holy shit. You are amazing at the time.
We can't multitask.
Holy cow.
Remember I put on the thing, I said, no, we'll do it at 6:30. I just looked at the thing and I was like, it's 6:39. I was like, wait, what?
Holy shoot. I cannot get over.
Can't. Oh, well.
Well, I take back my apology.
Yeah.
You guys were late.
Yeah.
Because if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
I can't.
So, holy shoot. That is so funny. I cannot believe that.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, anyway. So what else were we going to say about that?
Yeah. So just to run through some of the wastefulness of what's been going on. So Medicare and Medicaid, and you have one side that is looking to find out what's happening, right? And you have the other side that don't want to find out, right? But they want to yell and scream that they're going to cut Medicaid programs. But meanwhile, estimated $60 billion lost annually due to fraud in Medicare and Medicaid, right? So if they just cleared up the fraud, maybe they just wouldn't have to worry about canceling the program because they could probably fund it or a lot of it.
Well, and I saw something. I couldn't find it tonight when I was looking for it because I saw it earlier, maybe yesterday. But Elon Musk said, I know, I can't, whatever. Elon Musk said something about if they keep saving at the rate that they're saving now, they could have our deficit handled in like a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
That's how much weight. And what have you been hearing about the United States deficit? And how much we're like, they're saying, oh, we're never going to get that. We're never going to be able to pay that up. Meanwhile, he's finding so much.
Yeah. Well, they're saying like once the interest on your country's debt exceeds your budget for your military is, when you're going to collapse. But meanwhile,
I would love to hear what Jim Willie's got to say right now with Doge. We actually need to find some of his stuff and see what's going on with Jim Willie because I bet you he's got a lot to say about Doge.
Yeah. And then Jen thinks we're hilarious. Jen, you need to talk to Lisa offline to get it straight with the times.
My God. That was so great. You guys don't even know we're running around. But you know what? We're like distracted because we took Gigi out today just to get her out of the house a little bit. And my son is here and we haven't seen him in
a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years.
He was deployed.
And then, he's stationed somewhere else. And so he's here. And and we're getting to see him and his kids and, going to soccer games and doing all this stuff. So we're just, I don't know.
Yeah, we're just running around and barbecuing.
Trying to barbecue real quick before we were going on.
I had food caught in my teeth that I was trying to get out quick before I came on. So you guys didn't have to see it. But
thanks, honey.
We were crazy.
Running around like a crazy person. I'm trying to make like mashed potatoes and ribs. And
that's crazy. But so you want to know another good thing that's cool? We have unused government buildings. So and they're to maintain them and their empty properties is $1.7 billion a year for empty buildings that we don't use. And then you have the stimulus check, COVID relief fund, 100 billion in fraud.
Oh,
That went out.
nice.
And it just,
Big
I mean,
surprise.
yeah, and it's Social Security overpayments, 11 billion, and I didn't get overpayment. I'm not on Social Security, but that's just an overpayments, 11 billion,
Wow.
right? Ain't that crazy? And 20,000. Oh, so but
Oh, I've got something
this
on
is
that. So let me get.
these are the important
Let me
ones.
pull that up really quick because I've got. Go back to X. I've got something about that. Let's look here. So, okay. So, really quick, Elon Musk just said that auditing government agencies isn't just about numbers, it's about ensuring integrity, trust, and responsible governance.
Governance, yeah.
And so here's what you were talking about. So here we go. Oh, it's on this side, but it's not going to show more over here. You have to look over here, I guess. So U.S. tax dollars were going to be spent for the following items, all which have been canceled. 10 million for Mozambique.
Mozambique. That's
Mozambique.
in
Okay.
Africa.
Voluntary medical male circumcision.
That's very important.
9.7 million to UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills.
Okay, that's odd.
Go ahead.
2.3 million strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. That really promotes America First.
Yeah.
32 million to the Prague Civil Society Center. 40 million for gender equality and women empowerment hubs. 14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. That's important.
I mean, what does that mean?
Who the fuck knows? Who knows? I'm sorry, excuse my language.
I mean, and then 486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening.
That's money laundering.
Yeah, what does that mean? What are they doing?
Including 22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and 21 million for voter turnout in India.
That's important for us.
And Bangladesh.
29 million to strengthening political landscape in Bangladesh. 20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. 19 million for biodiversity conversation in Nepal.
Just a conversation.
So in Nepal, they got, almost $40 million
for nothing.
For stuff that doesn't benefit us in any way.
Those are the things I think the money goes out, and a big percentage goes back into the
we'll send
pockets.
You this, but you have to send back this.
Yeah, so I mean that's crazy. And then I mean, Liberia, voter confidence in Liberia. That's what they're worried about, not the blood diamond. People
Mali
cut off. Ridiculous.
Social cohesion in Mali, 14 million.
Inclusive democracies in Southern Africa. 47 million to improve learning outcomes in Asia.
Well, aren't we like bottom rung?
Yeah,
I just heard Trump talking about that. Like we're dead last.
We're worried about improving their learning.
Yeah.
You ever see what they do in their school, those kids?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, it depends on, I guess, where they were, but still, I mean, come on, let us help our kids here. 2 million to develop sustainable recycling models.
Jeez. For marginalized communities in Kosovo, Roma, holy cow, Ashkili, and Egypt.
Wow. So that's important.
It's some crazy
stuff.
mean,
thank goodness he found it and he canceled it.
Yeah.
And at least, we have that. But what else did you hear that there was?
Yes. I mean, these are some smaller numbers, but I think it all goes to it. 20,000 and change to fund drag performances in Ecuador.
That's important.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Then you got National Institute. So the NIH funded $2 million for voice therapies for transgender individuals to sound more like what they
identified.
They think they are. And then we have there's hundreds of thousands of dollars going to pride parades, and then all over the place. Then you have the NIH granted $400,000 to study why gay men use dating apps like Grindr.
That's important. We need to understand why we need an app.
It's crazy. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Let them date
That's
who they got to date.
guys. That's
yeah, who gives a shit? Like, it's so nutty to at 3.5 million to research intimate partner violence in the LGBT relationship.
Yeah.
So I mean, it goes on and on and on with this National Science Foundation. Anything with science in it, for some reason, they think it has credibility. But that's 600,000 for queer ecology, which explores the impact of sexuality and gender identity in nature. That again, no one cares. Let people live. Let live and let live. Leave them alone. NIH provided grants for lesbian obesity. So I could, if for 3 million, you give me what 25,000, and I'll tell them why they're fat.
Oh.
And then
he's not politically correct, guys.
Yeah, no, it don't even matter. I was fat just 3 years ago, so don't worry about it.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Steph. And then yeah, so then
we do nicknames, Stephanie. We do nicknames.
We shorten
Johnny's
everything.
Gonna shorten everything.
We even shorten Lisa's name, Lee.
Yeah, his family calls me Lee or Lee.
And then also what's a big thing is the Department of Agriculture and the CIA have allocated funds. These go into the hundreds of thousands, into the millions, on LGBT sensitivity training, because they need more sensitivity about LGBT. And what I just want to say is nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody cares. Like, it's not
a negative. It's just
I don't go through my life, and I don't think one bit about who does what behind closed doors. I don't care.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, we can't, if we have an opinion about something that we think is overboard, if it has to do with one of these groups, we're supposed to not say what we would say if it was a different group. Listen, if there's a parade of entirely heterosexual people and everybody is walking around almost naked and being explicit in what they're doing, I don't want to see it. I'm a conservative person.
Yep.
I'm a bit of a prude. I'm not trying to see all that. It's not about the fact that they're doing these parades. It's about the fact that they're doing these parades and
a lot of degenerative shit going on.
Right. And then people are like bringing kids and things like that. That's the thing. It's like,
it's what they're literally kids.
It's not what you have a lot of gay people in your family.
Yeah.
That we love and respect and
I wouldn't let no one touch them or say anything about them.
Right. And it's not, it's not about that. It's about having these things done in such a way that you're not allowed to say, I don't really want my 4-year-old being read to by a drag queen. I just don't want the confusion. I don't want to have the conversation. I don't feel like we're ready for that yet. I don't want to do it. That doesn't mean that this person cannot live out their life whatever they want to. When I was younger, I went and saw a drag show on the Strip with guys that were performing, and they were dressed up like Liza Minnelli and Barbara Streisand and all of these great things, and they would sing Joan Rivers, and they'd sing and perform and do it. It was fun, right, to see something like that. But then it just went to this weird place, and it didn't become about those things anymore. Remember the movie The Birdcage? That was fun.
Yeah,
it was.
How many times did we watch that?
Yeah,
1,000 times.
It was.
But when it gets to the point where you see the guys on TV, I mean, on these things that are doing ads, and they're saying that they're coming for your kids, and they're doing the kid, you shouldn't, if your parents don't do it, you shouldn't talk to them. Now that's one. You could always say, it's one person, who cares? But you know what? That person has a lot of followers, and the fact that if someone was to say, I don't want my kid to see any of that information, you can get knocked off of one of the social medias. Yeah. But he can say that he's coming after the kids dressed with lipstick and a beard, right? And say he's coming and say weird stuff that kids shouldn't be hearing. Yeah. And he just keeps saying it. That's the problem.
Stages and you gotta. There's gonna be elements of society that do things and there's people that have fetish stuff or whatever.
Yeah, God bless.
I don't have anything to do with it. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, well,
that's all. I mean, live your life.
The kids shouldn't hear about it. I don't want heterosexual teachers to talk about their sexual relationships.
Of course.
I don't want a green-haired teacher telling my 5-year-old or a 6-year-old that they're pansexual and this is what they do. It has nothing to do with being gay or not. It has to do with, I don't want anyone talking to my kid. Yeah, their minds cannot wrap their brains around what you're saying. It's not healthy.
Well, at any rate, it looks like some of these things are going to be starting to get dealt with. And
yes,
I want the pendulum to swing back more to center for that. And, if there are parents that feel like this is great and fine, I question
them being a parent.
Well, it's like, at what point is introducing things, to your children, a problem and inappropriate, because now my kid has to play with your kid, and what is your kid saying to them about things that I don't want my kid to hear?
Yeah, well, and that's the big thing. You could go on your cell phone now, right? It's a computer, so these kids have cell phones, right? And our kids have cell phones, but it's just, what's dangerous is that you can do what you want to do with your kids in your house, but once they're with their friends and they're at school, and if their parents aren't doing some of the same things, and they're pulling up porn or whatever it may be, it's just they're getting so much information.
I don't understand are the parents that are allowing their children to think they're animals.
That's
there's a name for it. What is that called? Gigi knows because she told me.
Furries.
Furry.
Yeah. But yeah, they answer the teacher like that. They'll answer the teacher. The teacher go, "What's 2 + 2, Johnny?" And the guy will go, "Well," like that. And if the teacher don't placate him and go like, okay, so can you, how many meows is that? And be like he's a real cat. The teacher gets in trouble when really the parent
disruptive to the classroom, and the rest of the kids are trying to learn like. Why do we have to have these things?
Yeah, anyway, that would have never happened. My father I would have got the beating I would have got. It would have straightened my head out real quick. I would have stopped meowing in an instant.
Right. But anyway, I feel like a lot of this stuff's going to get dealt with. And
it is.
And going in for the money is really smart.
Yep.
It's really smart.
Dan Bongino wrote that book, Follow the Money.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. And it's good that the press secretary for the White House, who's a young woman, and she is impressive for 26 or 28 years old.
Yeah, I like her.
I didn't realize how young she was. She's a young kid, and she handles herself amazing. She has a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
But she brings receipts with everything. So she always comes and she has papers and she has receipts that show everything. So when they can't go, "Oh, she's lying." That's not that. She brings
it. The thing is that when it comes down to all this, it's like there's that scope of it and that picture of it where it looks like we're making some room. And then I know I have friends that are on social media that feel like, it's all distraction and there's like a larger picture here and there's things going that too. I agree with that too. But I'm in this position where I'm, raising Gianna still. I have one minor still. And so I guess I'm looking at it through that lens. Even though I can step back from it all and say to myself, it's all distraction and it's all those things. She's impressionable and she's with kids, at school. She was homeschooled for years, but because she decided she wanted to go into a specific career path, we put her in a specialized school that deals with helping kids with their careers and stuff. It's a technical.
It's a career technical academy.
Yeah. So for that reason, we're back in that whole system, and we've had nothing, no negative anything, and we were looking for it. Like we were like kind of, and that hasn't been our experience at all. But at the same time, when I'm hearing these things in the world, I always think about it in terms of her.
Yeah, me too. And I just in my what I always think is I hope they're not just like a slow drip.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be in the 3rd year, all of a sudden she's coming home and she's like just believing some weird stuff. So I'm hoping that's not the case.
It could be to a degree, who knows what's going to be, but the world can look totally different. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there was a shift, a few months ago, and we really did feel like we moved on to a higher timeline where things were feeling, much more positive. Not just Trump getting in, because I know a lot of people are triggered by that. Some of my favorite people that I kind of listen to seemed like they were kind of triggered by that. We had a guest on Megan, that she does the dowsing rods.
Yeah.
And I've caught her a couple of times since then, and it sounds like she's really struggling with, you know, Trump kind of being there and Kamala not winning and stuff. And you know what? I felt compassion where like before, you know, I started going through my awakening, I probably would have been a little bit triggered at her seeming like she was struggling with it. And I didn't feel like that at all. I felt more like she's a really good person, and it made me stop and think, um, you know, that there was probably good people on both sides that are just, you know, I don't know, for whatever reason, following one belief system or the other.
Yeah. No, what doesn't make it rough for you? Okay, so what makes it rough for me, I do differentiate, you know, say liberals with leftists, right? But it just seems like when you think that, you know, say Kamala should have won, or you're upset with Trump, but it's like you're taking such a spoon feeding of bullshit and believing it that, but it's not there. The agenda on the left is, I feel just evil. It's straight out evil.
But you know what? I can't agree with that because it's not for me. But I honestly feel like what it would be the reason why there are so many really, really good people that are not seeing it and are finding the words or the phrases that they're hearing, and it's triggering them in a way that is, you know, upsetting them, and because they're good people and they're going to want good things too. So what do they hear? Why are they hearing it different?
Because I think that, like, auto suggestion, there are people who can be hypnotized and get auto suggested, and people who aren't good candidates for that.
Yeah.
So if you look at someone like a Bill Maher, right? Even when he goes so far, and right, but then he stops and goes, no, they shouldn't be doing this with girls. They shouldn't be this. And you get to a certain point, and it's like, no, these are 5 and 6-year-old kids. Of course, they shouldn't be hearing about this.
No,
or they shouldn't.
Okay, well, let me just say, there's a caveat. Obviously, there are certain topics.
But even the trafficking, the movie that came out, who would be against the movie?
Right, but so when you look at people that are even spiritual, in the spiritual community, and they're looking at the larger picture of this and somehow able to kind of pull out and dissect this in a different way and come up with something else, being that they're still spiritual people that have conviction about good and things being right and all of that, and they're still coming to a place where they feel like they're worried about the future because Trump is now in office. They're not looking at this as something that's positive, that feels like we're moving in a forward momentum. That's how I feel. I feel like their signs are all around it, and it's hard to grasp that you can't see that. However, there are a lot of people who are really nervous.
Yeah, I'm not saying
that are good people.
They don't have to like Trump. They can have TDS in it, but when there's certain things that I look at, and when those people go, they're so far for their side. Like, there are Republicans that I don't like. I just don't like. I don't agree with them at all. I don't like them. I always been in the middle, and really, I was always more liberal. You know, even with a lot of my stances, but I kind of started to move over because it got so ridiculous, and I go like, I don't care how many times the TV repeats the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't. It can't indoctrinate me in a certain way because it's just stuff that's so against my. It's to the point where it's like going like, no, I support serial killers. It's like, no, there's not one point in my life that I can do that. I don't care how many times they say it.
Right.
So I just feel, and that's what made me start to believe when I saw Jesse Peterson, and he used to always say it's a spiritual battle, and I used to always think, why is he saying it's a spiritual battle? I never gave it much thought.
You don't think on those terms, yeah.
But then all of a sudden I started to realize and go, it is a spiritual battle. It without a doubt is, and it's not about Democrat, Republican. That's to keep all of us distracted and separated. It's not about black against white and rich against poor. It's about it's evil and good. It's either right or wrong or good and evil. And that is, I think that is
But I
exactly
think that
right.
there are people in our lives um, that, are here to not wake up. They have decided to, almost on a spiritual level, that they are going to be the example. They're going to be the people that we are going to see. Even, it's like when my kids were little and I would tell them, you can learn something from everyone,
Yeah.
even if it's just a really good example of what not to
do.
be.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that there are people who, on a spiritual level, have totally sacrificed themselves
Mhm.
in this life to say, I am going to be that person that's not hearing, not seeing it, so you can see, so you can look at it and you could go, what is happening? I feel like I'm going crazy, because we've all had that to some degree with somebody.
So then on a galactic scale of karma,
Yeah.
they would, from say source, they would be getting good karma from this because they're choosing to sacrifice themselves to
Yeah, it's
for us.
like a gift. It's like a gift to the people around you, right? Or if you can see it, or the people that were following the protocols that we were all being asked to do, and then they were losing their lives because of it, or because of complications due to it. But it was waking everyone else up, right?
Yeah.
And it was making people see, okay, something's wrong.
Yeah.
This isn't a normal situation. There's something going on here. But for them and what they were doing, we would not have been able to see that there was something amiss, right?
Yeah.
If everything was
Well,
going,
without good, there's no without dark. You don't know what good is. Without
yeah,
sadness, you don't know what happiness is. So that I do agree with.
yeah,
But when it comes to what I just like to boil it down to, like, the in simple terms, is that whatever the reason they're doing evil stuff, or they're taken it to a place where they're going after people's kids, and they're getting, like, it's getting crazy, then you could have made a contract to be magnanimous and sacrifice yourself, then you need to get sacrificed, because when it comes down to it, no one wants their people to be hurt, their family to be hurt,
sure,
and no one, so I think what helps me out the most is what Stephanie wrote too, and like what we always talk about. Everybody's on their own path,
right.
and so whatever it is, whatever they're supposed to learn from it.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, guys. Whatever they're supposed to learn from it, whatever I'm supposed to learn from, whatever the collective is supposed to learn from it to move us forward. I'm grateful that we're moving forward. But as far as what what you have to do, or who you want to keep in your life, and the horrible thing is, it could be family. It could be that there's family who's just on the wrong side. It doesn't mean that, like I said, like bad or good. I you know I'm I started to train myself to get to that neutrality point,
yeah.
and I really don't as long. But I just think, like, what about those parents where those kids were being affected? Like when they went up to the school boards.
I honestly think on a
You know,
soul level, there's some awareness, even though maybe we're not aware of some of our roles now, we're kind of finding out what it is that we're
yeah,
going to do. But if you think about it from a perspective of the fact that we're infinite beings,
yeah,
right? We don't really die. We just kind of shift to the next thing. And that's why, there are people who have incarnation after incarnation and things like that. And it's not really linear either. I mean, it's kind of simultaneous, but just for an understanding of where we are going through this
yeah,
life, if if that's the case, and what we're doing, you're thinking about, there's so many aspects of you that are living and doing things to learn and grow and evolve and find out how things go. You can't really have a life like this if you realize that you're an infinite being who never really dies and never really has. How do you grow from that? Because anything that would happen, you'd be like, oh, who cares?
yeah,
Whatever. I'm just gonna. There's no growth in that situation. So you have to come from a place where you don't realize who you are, what you're doing, and so that you can have these experiences, have the feelings, have the emotions, go through the difficulty of it, and pull yourself through that,
hmm,
right? Because that's really where we grow usually, is when things get hard
yep,
and when things are tough to move through, then all of a sudden we kind of gain our momentum and pull ourselves to the next thing, and we grow.
yeah,
We can't do that if we
no,
realize we're just infinite beings.
yeah, no, without a doubt. And I fully believe that, and I think that, and I think maybe for everybody it could be a little different, um, but I think, yeah, when there's anytime there's a hard path or there's a challenge,
Yeah.
the people that run to that challenge or run into that burning building, or whatever you want, however you want to, you see smoke, and those people that run towards it, they
Yeah.
go right when they come out the other side, they come out faster and stronger. The people that avoid it continue to stay in that area of like kind of discomfort and never really moving through anything and staying stagnant.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that, and good times create soft men create hard times create hard men create good times. Just
Yeah.
that cycle.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe, but yeah, like I said, it's definitely very new. Well, not very new, but it's newer to me to have gratitude and an appreciation for people that are like that, because you know how my personality is. It's
Yeah.
very like cut and dry with certain things, and but I really did, and a lot of the things that Lisa had brought to me, and we watched, like the marinas, and
Yeah.
it's just like I really started to, and it was good for my blood pressure too. I started to like look at things and just be neutral about it. I wasn't feeling any way about it, and again, maybe it was because it wasn't my own kid. So maybe it was easier for me to do that. But it's stuff that would have normally got my blood boiling. And instead, I just saw what it was, and I said, thank you for showing me
Mhm.
what that is, and what I need to do when I come in contact with that next, and then go on to get it be words, thoughts, and actions in the positive, and move forward.
Yeah.
And that's what led me down this road to ultimately with the codes and manifesting, and some of the things that we're starting to go through now. And I think I think everything does happen for a reason, and I think timing is vital. And I think we will put the work in that we were putting in to prepare ourselves to now, with these timeline shifts, that we can really take advantage of it, and move up. And instead of taking 30 years, maybe it'll take 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but preparation is I think huge, and I think that's when preparation meets opportunity. Is then people say that you're lucky, right? But that just the people who put the work in, who work the hardest, seem to be the luckiest. So
Right.
it all seems to come about.
And I know in my guidance it's shown me one time that all hands were on deck right now. As we were kind of going through um this ascension process, everybody's going to have different roles to play,
Hmm.
but everybody's here for a reason. And even the people that you look at that you think are just, you're like, what a moron. I can't even believe that they think that or they follow that or whatever. No, everyone that is here right now and is incarnated here right now, these are very powerful beings. They're all here for a purpose and a reason. And, some of them are for the same reasons you are, but some of them aren't.
Yeah.
But they're still a powerful being. And um, everybody's got a role to play. And if you can't kind of push through and help with the ascension and stuff, then some people choose that they're going to kind of go and leave this space, but they're going to be helping us from the other side of the veil or whatever that it is, to kind of hold space for us and to help with the frequency aspect of it. So, um, I think we're moving into something, but there were certain things in society that needed to be dealt with and
Hmm.
handled. And, you know, we need to kind of come from a place of recognizing and then deciding as a collective what we want. And there will be, some of the things that we see now that we're getting frustrated with, those things are still may exist in the field, but that's not, we're not saying that they can't exist. What we're saying is that because it's all good under, the scope of what is source is everything, every frequency from super super low to super super high and everything in between. It all belongs in it, but you can't go against people's free will. You can't force what you think and
Yeah.
how you want to live on me and my child and those kind of things. There's got to be a mutual respect, and
Right.
there's got to be a place where people can come to the realization that you do you and I'm going to do me, and that's all okay. You know? as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the delineation comes, is like, I think sometimes, well, consider, let's say, the people on the right think the people on the left are just people with bad ideas.
Yeah.
And the people on the left think the people on the right are bad people with bad ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's when you start to see the violence and they, it's okay to, if someone had a MAGA hat on just, 2-3 years ago, they could get punched in the face, get the hat, and nothing would happen. They just, it is what, you shouldn't have had a Trump hat on. But now it's different, because now in the grocery stores, and I have people walking around with MAGA hats and stuff like that. And again, I don't like to make it all about Trump either. I think he was a vital player, but I think what it is that just if you want to express yourself in a way that's really not hurting anybody, but if you're wearing a hat that says "Make America Great Again," and if you don't like it, you can say, well, I think you're an asshole for wearing the hat, and you walk on. But to get it like it's a microaggression, you're able to punch it. You start putting your hands on people. That's a problem.
Or people having to leave. Yeah. Because of something they're wearing.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And then now, and again, of course, what happens? The pendulum swings so far that now if you just have American flags, it's offensive. And we live in America.
Well, hopefully it's all changing.
It is. It is. And the reason why I like where we're at too is because I don't know if it's even going to swing so far back where it's going to be ridiculous to the other side where we all start to move left. Because I don't think we have an administration that is like that, because he don't mind.
That's what David Nino Rodriguez said. He said that he thinks we're gonna, like, in the next couple of years, everything's gonna get so stupid and conservative that it's gonna go the other way, and then we're all gonna be ticked off about that, and we'll come back the other way. I hope he's wrong. I'm not trying to deal with that.
I'm hoping it's not, only because I feel like if we are ascending up a timeline, then even though it's not like tit for tat, where, you know what, you did this and now we're going to go here. It's not like, it's going to be like, you did this, now we're going to go here, and this is where it's fair for everybody. It's not, we're not going to, we're not going to play that game, because I think that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
For the longest time. And those people who are in this community for how many, like, decades? You know how long they've been waiting?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been waiting a lifetime, and it's like a couple of years.
5 years.
Yeah,
It's been 5 years.
But yeah, like I said, so we also have some family members that are a little screwy. So,
we're going to wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up because everybody's like waiting for us. So
she don't have a helmet
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And it was nice to kind of catch up with everyone. And again, I just wanted to show you guys the website. Where is it? Wrong one.
That one.
You can't do that with it. You can't. You got to stop sharing, and then you have to share. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, one more time. Every time I try to do it, for some reason, it's like.
Have a good night, Steph.
Yeah. So this is it. visionsbeyondthedesert.com. If you guys would like to book a session, I would love to work with you. And yeah. So that's that. Everyone have a beautiful night. Thank you, Ken. I look forward to seeing you soon too. Bye. Oh, it's Emma.
Come here, Emma.
She's like,
I look scary right now.
You do look scary right now.
I'm just gonna poke my eye.
Oh, she's gonna just.
There she goes.
Nice.
She's like the guy from Home Improvement, the neighbor. He only shows half his face.
That's probably older. A lot of people don't know. Actually, these people are probably our age. So
Anyway,
good night.
Good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
God bless.